History books are filled with stories of heroes, but some of these heroes raise questions about whether their actions and behaviors in real life truly deserve this title. This video examines some historical figures who are praised in history books, but may not actually deserve this praise. Are you ready to learn the unknown truths about these heroes learned in popular culture or history lessons? If you're ready, let's start lifting the curtain where the truth is hidden. Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was the preeminent political and spiritual leader of the Indian independence movement. With his ideas, called Gandhism, he inspired not only India, but the whole world. He is known as the Father of the Nation in India, and his birthday, October 2nd, is celebrated as a national holiday. Gandhi, who lost his father in 1885, moved to South Africa after this tragic event. He first became interested in activism in this country. He spent a significant part of his youth, between 1893 and 1915, in this country. He had these experiences before becoming the pioneer of the Indian independence movement. However, many people are unaware that Gandhi had racist attitudes at times. During his time in South Africa, he fought for the rights of Indians, but did not show the same sensitivity towards native Africans. In some of his speeches, while expressing that Indians were humiliated by Europeans, he belittled Africans by saying that this humiliation brought Indians to the same level as Africans. In 1896, he claimed that Africans were only engaged in hunting and spent the rest of their time in idleness. In 1908, he stated that he saw Africans as far from civilization, primitive, and at the same level as animals. Although Gandhi's struggle for India is admirable, his attitude towards other communities has drawn criticism. Mother Teresa. In 2016, Mother Teresa was declared a saint with the approval of Pope Francis. However, this decision was not welcomed by everyone. To be declared a saint requires that the person has performed 2 miracles during their lifetime. These miracles are events that are believed to be done by a divine power, inexplicable by science. However, there are some doubts about Mother Teresa's miracles. The first miracle was accepted by Pope John Paul II in 2003, and the second miracle by Pope Francis in 2015. Both popes believed that Mother Teresa healed 2 people's tumors, but these healings are controversial because doctors stated that these tumors were brought under control with some treatment methods. In addition, the standards in the health centers established by Mother Teresa were also questioned. Working conditions in these centers were sometimes so poor that the patient's condition could worsen. The expiration of the drugs used, the reuse of needles, and the employment of untrained volunteers drew criticism. Mother Teresa's approach was for patients to peacefully pass away, feeling the love of God, which disturbed medical professionals. This is also the reason why these places are called death houses. Although Mother Teresa is acknowledged to have dedicated her life to human rights, she had approaches to this issue that did not meet today's standards. Her primary goal was to spread the Catholic faith. The New York Times claimed that she used the poor to spread her own religious beliefs rather than helping them. In addition, her relationship with controversial figures and the lack of clarity about where the millions of dollars from donations were spent also drew criticism. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is historically known as the president behind the abolition of slavery in the United States. However, the motivation behind his anti-slavery stance may not be based on the modern understanding of racial equality. In the Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, Lincoln stated that he did not support full social and political equality between whites and blacks. He also stated that blacks should not have the right to vote and should not marry whites. Although Lincoln found slavery morally wrong, this did not mean that blacks should have equal rights in society. For him, the issue was more about economic and social order. Lincoln was drawing attention to the division and potential problems that slavery caused in American society. Lincoln's idea of colonization was a common view in 19th century America. According to this idea, the separation of freed slaves from America and sending them to Africa or Central America would reduce racial tensions and make American society more harmonious. According to this perspective, it would be best for both blacks and whites for blacks to live in a community separate from America. That's why Lincoln advocated sending freed slaves to places like Liberia and colonizing Central America. Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is a scientist known for his revolutionary work on electricity and magnetism in the early 20th century. However, Tesla had thoughts not only on scientific ideas, but also on social issues. His eugenic ideas were among these thoughts. In the early 20th century, the eugenics movement was quite popular, especially in Western countries. This movement aimed to improve the quality of society by promoting genetic excellence. However, this also included the protection of individuals deemed superior and the restriction of reproduction of individuals deemed inferior. Tesla expressed his support for this movement in several of his writings and speeches. However, the darkest side of the eugenics movement was seen in Nazi Germany during the 1930s and 1940s. The Nazi regime used this movement as an excuse to genocide Jews, Roma, the disabled, and other undesirable groups. These actions of Nazi Germany dealt a major blow to the eugenics movement, and this movement was largely condemned and rejected. Tesla's support for this movement remains a controversial issue in his generally well-regarded legacy. Einstein. The relationship between Einstein and Mileva Maric and speculation about their scientific work is a long-standing debate. Mileva Maric was a talented student who studied physics and mathematics at the Zurich Polytechnic Institute, where she met Einstein. The two had a lot of correspondence. These letters showed that Einstein consulted Mileva for ideas on his scientific thoughts. However, there is no definitive evidence to support the claim that Mileva directly contributed to the article on the theory of relativity. Some historians argue that Einstein's use of the word "we" in his letters indicates that both spouses contributed, while others state that this expression is a pronoun used more in loving sentences. In-depth research by institutions such as the Center for Einstein Studies at Boston University shows that Mileva did not directly contribute to Einstein's work, but was an important intellectual partner and advisor to him. Despite all these discussions, the extent to which Mileva influenced Einstein's work may remain a mystery that may never be fully understood. Thomas Watson. Although Thomas Watson is not as famous as the other historical figures mentioned, he was one of the leading businessmen in the United States. He was born in New York in 1874. He started his professional life by selling pianos and sewing machines, and he quickly rose in this field. He then headed the computing tabulating recording company, which manufactured clocks and punch cards. They were also working on new technologies that could weigh and calculate the price. This was a revolutionary innovation in the early 1900s. In 1924, Watson took control of the company and renamed it International Business Machines, known as IBM. Although he did not produce technological innovations himself, his vision in this regard was reminiscent of Steve Jobs. The company successfully emerged from the stock market crash of 1929. IBM, which was profitable even during the economic crisis, started producing digital calculating machines in 1938, and these products eventually turned into desktop computers. But there is a dark side to the story at this point. During World War II, the number of IBM employees approached 22,000. There was an intense pace of work to provide raw materials to America. IBM was the only company producing calculating machines that could meet the complex logistical needs of the Army. But this technology was also being provided to Nazi Germany. When the war broke out, many companies left Germany, but IBM continued its activities with the expectation of high profits. Thanks to the technological possibilities provided by Watson, the Nazis ended the lives of millions of people in concentration camps across Europe. Aristotle. Aristotle is one of the most famous thinkers in history. He wrote on many subjects, from politics to metaphysics, and thanks to these writings he was remembered for generations. However, Aristotle also had some views that did not fit modern thought. Although he had a deep interest in subjects such as physics, chemistry, astronomy, and biology, his thoughts on women contradicted today's values. He is known to have seen women as incomplete and flawed compared to men. He had an interesting belief that men's blood was warmer than women's. Aristotle can be considered quite conservative even alongside Plato, who advocated that women should be shared in society. But these views may also reflect the social structure of the time he lived in Athens in the 4th century BC, because during this period the economy of Athens was largely based on slave labor. According to Aristotle, some people were born naturally suited to slavery. However, this was not an ethnic or racial issue, but a mental state. Aristotle stated that people who lack the ability to think independently and obey orders without question should be slaves. He called such individuals mechanical people and saw them as even lower than animals. Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell is an important figure in UK history, just as Abraham Lincoln is in America. He was ranked 3rd in a BBC poll about the greatest Briton of the second millennium. According to 150 biographies written about him in the last century, he is generally viewed in a positive light. However, Cromwell, who died 350 years ago, had such a complex character that he cannot be seen solely as a revolutionary hero. He has been accused of ethnic cleansing and religious persecution, particularly in connection with the horrific massacres at Drogheda and Wexford in Ireland in 1649. He was the leader of the parliamentary armies in the English Civil War and ruled the British Isles from 1653 to 1658 with the title of Lord Protector. In practice, Cromwell was the unofficial leader of the United Kingdom, although he was not crowned. Under his rule, England transitioned from a period of turmoil to a stable form of government. However, many historians and experts regard Cromwell as both a revolutionary leader and a despotic dictator. His extreme hatred of Irish Catholics in particular is one of his most controversial aspects. He is known to have carried out major massacres and ethnic cleansing during his campaigns in Ireland. Walt Disney. Walt Disney, born in 1901, is one of the iconic figures of the 20th century. In the following 65 years, he had a huge impact on both the business world and the film industry. However, behind the image Disney created lies a complex personality. In 1928, the mouse character Disney created quickly gained popularity. Initially, he considered naming this character Mortimer. However, on the advice of his wife Lily, he changed the name to Mickey. It can be said that this change had a great impact on the popularity of Mickey Mouse, who became the face of the Disney empire. Although Walt Disney is known for his innovation and success, he has been the subject of much controversy throughout his life. Some of these are allegations that he had anti-Semitic and racist tendencies. In the 1930s, reports surfaced that Disney attended meetings of the German-American Bund, a pro-Nazi group. His invitation to Nazi propagandist Leni Riefenstahl to the studio during the same period also drew criticism. The racist depictions in some of Disney's productions have also been targeted by critics. However, Disney also has many defenders against these allegations. Over the years, the intensity of these discussions about Disney has not diminished and has sometimes even increased. Che Guevara. Che Guevara's life and legacy are historically and politically controversial. While many people see him as a hero of Latin America fighting for social justice, some criticize his methods and ideology. Still, Guevara's face has become a symbol in a wide range of areas, from youth movements to fashion. Ernesto Che Guevara was firmly committed to the ideals of social justice and equality. However, his methods of achieving these ideals, particularly the violence he inflicted on those he saw as threats to his freedom and life, have been criticized by many. Guevara's methods and ideology are controversial because they advocate the use of violence as a tool of revolution. After the Cuban Revolution, Che traveled to different countries to support revolutionary movements. However, these movements, especially in Africa and Bolivia, were generally unsuccessful. Guevara's capture and killing in Bolivia ended his role in the spread of revolutionary movements. The reason Che Guevara's face is so prevalent in popular culture is his connection to youth movements and the pursuit of social justice. However, to learn more about his life and legacy, it is important to delve deeper into these issues. This can help us better understand Guevara's actions and his role in history. Ultimately, no one is completely without fault. Don't forget to share your thoughts with us in the comments. See you later.